This morning, we're answering some of your legal questions with the help of our guest, attorney Daliah Saper of Saper Law. Daliah, thanks for coming in this morning.
Thanks
we
for
appreciate
having me,
it. Before we get to our first question, though, we want to stress this is all general legal information. So for more specific advice, make sure you contact your own attorney. All right, let's get to our first question from a viewer who writes, I share an apartment with a girl who actually owns the place. She owns the condo. I pay half, but she treats me as though I'm a boarder, renting a room and a shelf in the fridge, and her family walks in and out freely, even when she's not there. Do I have any basis to break my lease?
Melanie, it's one of those really frustrating situations in life where you
Right.
just want to get out of there and pack your bags and go.
Right.
Unfortunately, depending on the terms of the lease that you entered with this condo owner / roommate, that might not be so easy. You're going to have to show that there's some material breach of whatever it is the terms were of your arrangement. You know, she's only giving you a certain amount of space where you're really entitled to use, or have access to 2 rooms or
Right.
the whole space.
Right.
And while I don't recommend passive-aggressive actions, I think in this case, maybe you start bringing over that boyfriend she doesn't like, or find ways to show how the discomfort
Is that the
impacting
expert
you.
legal advice?
Yeah,
Just try to irritate her?
But I'm saying realistically, this is one of those situations where you're not going to get yourself into legal trouble.
Right.
Find a way to work things out, bring up the situation and the problems you have, and worst comes to worst, you have to figure out a different situation where you bring another person in and you
Right.
leave and try to mitigate the damages that the condo owner would sustain by you breaking that lease.
Okay, so try to amicably break your lease.
Yes.
Okay, this is our next question from another viewer. It says, I just looked up my business name on the computer, businessname.com, and another person's website is already there. How can they do that?
Really frustrating, right? But domain names are essentially online real estate. And whether or not you have a right to that online real estate depends on who registered it first and whether or not you have trademark rights or priority rights to that domain name. So if I wake up today and I register, or I think of a name like XYZ for my business and I go and see XYZ.com, I can't just ask for that name. I'm going to have to negotiate the purchase of that domain name. On the other hand, if I'm Coca-Cola and I see that someone's registered Coca-Cola-Chicago.com, I can initiate legal action to secure that trademark, that domain name that involves my trademark, includes my trademark, and get it back.
So trademark law has a lot to do with this. It can't just be...
yes,
okay.
absolutely.
All right, I like that. Third question. This comes from a viewer. She says, I'm starting an online retail store. Does my website need a privacy policy? This is a great question because there are so many privacy issues in the news we're talking about lately. Is that a requirement now for people starting up websites if they're retail?
Privacy policies are primarily governed by different states' laws.
Okay.
The reality is that in so many states, especially states like California, do have statutes on the books requiring certain disclosures. You're probably going to need a privacy policy. Again, it's not mandated across the board, but anytime you're taking consumer information or certainly financial information, you need to be very clear with how that information is going to be used, whether or not the consumer or the person engaging with your website can opt out, and essentially if there's ever any changes or affiliates that are going to have access to that information, what you're going to do and what you're going to share, etc.
Okay, great information. Daliah, thank you
You're
so much
welcome,
for coming
Melanie.
in this morning. We'll let you get back to work.
Okay.
All right.